Hello, Foxly listeners, and welcome to the episode today. Today's show, we're going to be talking about a collaboration that was phenomenally successful and a phenomenal fail all at the same time. What was the good, the bad, and the lessons that you can learn doing your own collaborations? We're going to dive into all of that and more. I hope that this is as innocent, and I hope that you too think that way. There's a little hint for you. Let's dive in. I'm Tanya Fox, and you're listening to Fox Talks Business Podcast. I started my career in the corporate world, but always played to my own tune and loved to think outside of the box. This didn't always serve me well with the bosses, so I made the decision to become an entrepreneur. And that little seed of entrepreneurial curiosity continued to grow as I branched out into retail, service, and franchise businesses. Now, I have been fortunate to have amazing successes in the last 2 decades, but they did not come without some really big failures and even bigger lessons learned. And that's why I started this podcast, not just to share the failures, but to show you how you can turn every failure into a success. We're going to hear from some amazing humans from around the world that are going to share their stories of the good, the bad, and the motivational entrepreneurial life has to offer. After all, life is too short to make all of the mistakes yourself, so why not learn from each other? And of course, we're going to have some fun, because as I always say, well, you know what? I'll tell you that at the end of the episode. So if you haven't guessed it already, we're going to go all the way back to September 14th, 2014. The highly anticipated iPhone 6 was being released. 500 million users were there at the time. U2 took the stage with them, and it was announced that everybody was going to get a free album. My gosh, like an entire album, all the songs of innocence. It wasn't so innocent. Let's talk about the good first. So the good thing for U2 was they were getting exposure. Their album was going to be released and downloaded 500 million times. Those are really phenomenal stats. And you couldn't ask for anything better in the music industry. Let's be honest. The other thing is that, of course, in this, they all had talked about how they were avid Apple fans. They had the back from the iPod. They had the iPod, they had the iPhones, they had the computers. They were fans. So the fact that they finally got to share the stage and work with this company was a big deal for them. And they also got, to maybe dip into somebody else's audience. This is the whole reason why we do collaborations, right? Expose yourself to a new audience, those people that might not have had access to you before. So it was win-win-win for them. So what about Apple? Because they were really big players in the game. So what were they winning? Well, they also were getting to give this free gift to their people. It was something that they were ramping up in the music industry. It was something that hadn't been done before. So again, we all know, you should know by now, that Apple loves to be the first to do stuff. First exposure, first new thing, first on the stage, first on the scene. So this was something that they got to spearhead and put this out there as this huge giveaway that, oh my gosh, not just one song, but an entire album is yours just because you're with us. So it was giving also them exposure, and it was giving them sort of that added bonus that they were going to be able to give yet another new thing to their users. So it was just adding up into the list of this exciting new phone that was going to come out and all of these wonderful features. So it was making them look better in their customers' eyes. And Apple has very adamant users and fans. Like most people are very loyal to Apple. They won't switch. They're like Apple user through and through. And sometimes they leave, but then they come back. And Apple has done a phenomenal job at that. So this was no different. So you can see the sort of working together was allowing them to sort of give something to their audience, have an additional feature on their phone, and kind of dip their toe a little bit more into the music industry. Win-win-win for Apple as well. Now let's move over to the bad side. When this actually released, it did exactly what they wanted it to. You got the update, 500 million users, whether you friggin' wanted it or not, got an entire album downloaded onto your phone, which took up your space and your data. And people were pissed. I being one of them. Now, I had listened to some YouTube songs because I'm an 80s kid. And it wasn't that I was pissed off about the privacy issue. Some people felt like their privacy was being done. I just couldn't get rid of the album and I didn't really want it. And it was annoying. And it was that annoyance for me. But I fell into the age-old trap of listening to everybody else who was also getting really pissed off that Apple had the audacity to just throw upon them this band and this album no matter what. You could hide it, but you couldn't get rid of it. It would consistently come back, and people were outraged and had no problem doing it because I think mostly because they couldn't delete it. I think that's what really set people off. They were like, hey, you gave me this gift. I don't want it. Take it back. Like, take your stupid pen back. I don't want it. Stop giving it to me. Oh my God. And the more they tried to delete it, the more it kept coming back. And although I laugh about it, it was frustrating at sometimes too. It still is. That stupid album is still on my phone. I can't get it off to this day. I've tried all of their little hacks. But a lot of people went a step farther and were feeling like their privacy was, which is funny in hindsight. But anyway, they were feeling like their privacy and their wants and likes were being told to them. And it was like Apple was going, this is the music that you're going to like. And people were really like, it caused people to start thinking about what else Apple was just automatically downloading onto their phone. And so these talks started coming out a little bit more. And so both Apple and YouTube were like, oops, this was hugely successful, but this is not staying successful. This is turning into a nightmare. So now we get to the lessons. So the biggest lesson is resolve issues quickly. Doesn't matter what collaboration you do. If it goes down the tubes, then you need to make sure that whatever issue or whatever fix it is, if you have a fix for it, you can get it out and release it soon. Now, it did only take them 6 days to release the fix, but the fix didn't work for everybody. Raising my hand here as the album still keeps showing back up on my phone. And I'm sure it's a user issue. Okay. I will say, I'm sure there's somewhere specific I'm supposed to go to delete it, but Lord love it, it's still on there. But 6 days was a long time to people. And it gave them time to sort of vamp up their issues. So resolving the issue quicker. Now, the other thing is the apologies came a little bit late because what was happening is there was sort of a little bit of that stance of like, this was a free gift for you, not seeing it from the user's perspective of going, but we don't want this. And it really kind of took a little bit for some people to kind of come out and go, this wasn't our intention. We're so sorry. Now, I do want to say the good lesson. And one of the things that I saw that I was really impressed with was Bono, who actually came out and said, 100% on me. Nothing to do with the band. I take full responsibility for this. I got really excited about this opportunity. I pushed it. I take 100% responsibility. And I was like, good on you as not only the leader of a band, but also just standing up and going, you know what? I'm going to take this for the team because that is my job as the leader, as the face of this organization, of this group. I need to be the one to do it. So I thought he did that really well. And of course said like, this was not our intention. We're so sorry. Like, just delete it. But also, you know, there was a lot of people complaining that apology wasn't getting out there. So it was getting to the point where the band was like, just delete it if you don't like it. Like, quit your whining. But again, that then also was causing backlash because they were like, this isn't our fault. This is your fault, right? So it was that weird thing where the apology wasn't getting to everybody as quickly as what the music did. And so there was a lot of missed communications and a lot of people were kind of getting their ruffles feathered their feathers ruffled on both ends, just like me trying to say that little saying. So, what are two other lessons you can learn from this? The first is whenever you're giving something, even if it is a freebie, it is so important to make sure that you give it as an option, that it's not something that you just thrust upon. And we're seeing this more and more in this day and age of people are like, if you would like this free gift, go here to download it. Now, of course, most people are doing that because they're trying to get your email address to get you into the list. But what this also does is make sure that you actually do want this. This is something that you want, that you have another option to get out. And it kind of leaves the business owner to go, well, you downloaded it. Like I didn't force you to do it. This was a choice that you made. So it is really important to make sure in anything that you're doing that you ask. And this is asking for anything. This is asking for permission to send people things. This is asking for permission to even use testimonials or things customers have said to you. It's really important to always make sure that you're saying, this is what we're planning on doing. Okay. Just so you know, this is coming down the pipeline. And the other thing that I think is so crucial, and one of the things that I spend a lot of times with my clients on is it's really easy, and I 100% am guilty of this because I get an idea for a collaboration and I get excited about it. And I'm like, oh my God, everybody's going to love this. This is going to be so amazing. And if the person who I'm collaborating with is as excited about the event or the promotion or whatever the collaboration is as well, I get even more like I get excited about them being excited, which makes me more excited. And it's just this weird snowball. But there's always a moment where I take a step back and I have a template that I go, okay, this is a great idea. And I'm super excited about it. But if I put myself in my user's seat, is this something that I'm going to think is just as cool and just as exciting with the information I get? Because the one thing you want to remember is when you're doing a collaboration, you have all of the data, you have all of the knowledge. You know what hopefully, you know what the beginning, the middle, and the end of this whole thing is going to look like. But your user doesn't. Your user is getting fed little bits of this information at a time. So that first bit of information that you're giving them, are they going to understand it? That is your whole goal. When I put this out there, and it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter if it's an event, if it is a service that you're doing, if it's a new program, if it's a masterclass, if it's a new product that you're releasing, the most important thing is for people to understand what is it that you're trying to do? What is the why of whatever it is that you're putting out there? And can they jump on board with the story? Can they jump on board with the idea? And it's a very hard thing to do. It is one of the hardest parts of doing a collaboration is putting yourself into your audience perspective of what this is going to look like when they receive it. So some of those things can be done in small ways. If you have an audience that's really engaged with you. So for example, if you run a year-long program. So a lot of the stuff that I want to do, I beta test it with my year-long program. So these people are with me for the whole year. They're working on different collaborations. They're working on growing their business. At the same time, I'm also doing that stuff. And I go, hey guys, want some free stuff? Because I'm going to launch this thing and I want your guys' perspective and I want your guys' take on it. So that's really beneficial for me because I can send them out an initial sequence of emails and go, how does this make you feel? Give me your honest feedback. And the thing I love about when I first learned about beta testing, which was like way back in like early 2000s, I think when I remember a game coming out as a beta testing and me going, oh my God, this is like the best thing of life because you can screw up a beta test and be like, wow, we tried this thing and that did not go the way we wanted it. So thank you so much for all of your constructive feedback. We are going back to the drawing board. We're going to make this even better. And when we release it, it's going to have all those fixes. So beta is a word that kind of gives you like a freebie to mess up. And so, think about instead of just going, "Oh my god, everybody's gonna love this as much as I am," you still need to have that excitement because when you release it, your excitement gets other people excited. And if you don't believe that, be in a room where somebody starts to laugh or do this experiment yourself. I've done this numerous times. Put headphones on, visible headphones. So if you have like earbuds or something, and if you're watching on camera, you're going to actually see me do this. If you have earbuds, don't put them in and then like have your hair where you can't even see them and you just look like a crazy person talking to yourself. Make sure your earbuds are clearly visible. Have your phone, my phone's not here because when I record, I don't keep it, but have your phone up in front of you and start laughing. And I'm not just talking about I'm like roll the laughter. Okay? Like just start with, "Oh." How many out you there? Put a smile on your face. Maybe you didn't start laughing, but maybe just me laughing all of a sudden makes you smile. It's not something that you're actually doing, but it's a really fun experiment because that joy, that excitement that somebody else is feeling, you have no context. You don't know what I was laughing at. You don't know what I'm looking at. You don't know what I'm listening to, what I'm hearing, nothing. But you can't help it. Joy is contagious. So it is very, very important to be excited. Don't lose that. Don't give that up. But also take a moment to sit back and go, am I going to look like a crazy person just laughing to myself? Or is this something that I'm going to be able to get the collective group or the majority of the people in the room laughing with me? So I hope that you try this experiment. Even just do it with your family. Even just sit there and start laughing like around the dinner table as like you're thinking of something. And if they're like, what is going on? Oh my God, the funniest thing happened. And then just keep laughing. Don't ever tell them. Like laugh so much like you can't say it, right? You can't get the words out because it's just so funny. And really observe how long it takes before each person puts a smile on their face. And it's best to do it when everybody has sort of like a morose face or if they just have no expression or everybody's just bored staring at their phone. It's a really, really fun experiment to do. So please do that and let me know. So let's go over the lessons because I know I went off on a little bit of a rabbit hole, which you know I love to do. So the lessons in this collaboration between Apple and U2. Listen, it's really important to ask first before you are doing any type of collaboration. If you are offering something that is free, make it an option. Do never, never, never force something on an audience. Always make it something that's optional. If they want to, they can have it. And if they don't, that's okay too. Make sure that you're not creating assumptions of your audience. Be really excited about whatever it is that you're doing, but take a moment to step back and see how is it going to be perceived from my audience. If I was sitting in the chair, would I like to get something like this? Or would I find it salesy? Would I find it sleazy? Would I find it evasive? How would I get that? Or how did I get that when somebody approached me in this same way? And if there is an issue, if something does go wrong, do your best to either find the resolution and get it out, get whatever fix needs to be out there, or be the first person to stand up and go, you know what? We did this. We're so sorry. This was not what our intention was. We're taking it back to the drawing board. We're going to come back. It's going to be better. Thank you so much for your feedback. And make sure you're reaching out to those people. You don't have to believe what everybody says. There's enough people out there on social media who are going to give you your opinion, whether you want it or not. You don't have to take them all, but it is important to sit back and go, which ones are valid and which ones aren't, and which ones do I need to address and which ones are just people fluffing, because even in those ones that are fluff, there's always a little nugget of information that we can learn from. It's one of the reasons I love going to rant and rave pages and looking at the comments, because there's always little nuggets of information in there that sometimes you can lapse. So make sure that you're learning those. And no matter what it is that you're doing, remember, sometimes you can have a collaboration that is massively successful and massively failing. all at the same time. And it is all in doing it. The important thing is that you learn the lesson, you don't give up, you get back to the drawing board, and you come back stronger and better than ever. And no matter what it is that you're doing today, whether you are still trying to get that album off your phone, whether you are listening and dancing and singing every damn word of it, make sure that you take time to stop and have fun. Because as I always say, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?